deck. And she,
Oh, yeah.
you know, it's just like her own place.
I know, she loves it. And then Delisi knows that she's not her human.
Right.
So she gets her, she's been waking her up earlier and earlier.
Oh, she's playing her.
Yeah, Lauren's dog sitting and house sitting for a friend of ours here in Orinoco. And so she's like, yeah, she gets me at 5:45 and then 5:30. And then Laura's like, tell her sternly, go lay down.
Because she wouldn't normally be up that early. I don't
No.
We were just talking that if we ever go somewhere like as a family, we need to find some dog sitters, so.
Lauren, she likes it. And then she's had some friends over, you know,
Yeah.
and things, but they've made dinner together and hung out
She's
there.
have fun with it then.
Yeah.
What?
Do what?
And then Heather's gone over a couple times,
Mhm.
spent the night with her and
Oh, neat.
together and,
That's neat.
yeah, so she likes it.
Yeah, yeah.
But the early mornings are hard, but she goes, she'll get up and walk to Lisi, then feed her, and then she goes back to bed.
She's on mute, but.
Camera's there, but then.
Melissa, can you hear us?
I got you.
We can't
Can you hear me?
Why?
Oh, hold on.
She's,
You right click on her name and see. No, it's not on mute.
yeah, you don't have her on mute. She's on mute. Tell her to hold down the space bar unless she's on her phone.
No, she is.
She's not.
Can you hear me now?
Maybe mute all and then unmute them again. I don't know.
What does that set up professional audio?
I don't know. I've never seen that before. Get out of there.
Volume or something.
Oh, yeah, is it?
Yeah, and that would be you, that one that you just clicked on.
How did we do this last time, you guys, with the controls? Oh, here we go. All right, now can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, hello, everyone.
Oh. We just need some time to figure out life.
Well, it took me a hot minute to get the link too. I didn't realize it wasn't an actual link. It was like a copy paste deal. I finally did find it in the calendar.
All right, thank you for joining us. Carol is in Alabama. Closing up. She'll be back Friday. All right, so we'll go ahead and two things were added since the email went out towards the bottom. Sentence to serve was new succession planning, and we'll talk about that at the end. And there's a motion to agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Make the motion to approve. Dean. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Pick a spot. No, pick a spot. You're Jim today.
I'll be Jim.
I'm parked by the door because I have to leave early.
That's right. You're gonna have to fire, right?
Yeah.
Carol is-
Somehow I
Get a
ended
half
up with
hour.
two of these. I don't know why she gave me
At
two.
best.
You need three.
Huh?
You need
It's
three.
not far away, you have to go, right?
One for each day?
One for each day.
I own a washing machine.
You get sweaty.
You won't have time.
Oh,
Okay.
Two might work, but one won't.
All right, anyhow. Have a motion for the May 10th meeting and meeting notes, which are on your table. Your motion on that?
You did
No,
it.
no, that was to approve the agenda. I'll motion to approve the May motion, May minutes. Second, Lizzie.
You made the motion.
We never.
Anna?
We voted on the cover? We were-
Yes.
Lizzie seconded. All in favor of the May 10th meeting minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Vote. Treasurer's report.
All right, treasurer's report. We've gotten quite a few deposits in since last month, so that's good. We have a check register balance of $36,031.60. The 5K, we never really transferred any back in there when we did the $500 deposits. When I went and put our first deposit in there, we got $235 from registrants. We're actually just keeping track. It's not a separate account or anything. We're just keeping track of it on a separate sheet. And so we actually have negative $124 in there right now because I needed to catch up on the $500 payment and then the $235 coming in, and we had $165. So we get $200 of sponsor money to put in there. So yes, I don't there, but 2410 negative. So that's not, yep, but that's not really.
We'll go with that.
So,
Talk about the spreadsheet.
yeah, I provided the
Email with
sheet
the
that
spreadsheet
has
on it. Should all be on your desk.
kind of a summary of the revenue and expenses for the last 5 years. I know a lot of people are new and we haven't gone over that since we didn't have a show last year. I thought it would be good for everyone to have an idea of how it comes into the show and how much money goes out for the different categories of expense. It's been fairly consistent in expenses over the years, and you can see our revenue has been declining. Melissa, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yep.
Can I, Melissa, can I mute you while you're, because there's like buzzing and stuff.
Oh,
Just unmute when you're ready to talk, okay?
here, I'll mute myself here.
So our basic revenue is the collection of the lot fees and food vendor payments. And then that second line is like miscellaneous ice and info booth. So when during the show, we sell ice and sell t-shirts, and sometimes there's a few donations. So there's just kind of a random amount there that comes in that's not really related to the revenue from the lot fees. And then going through the expenses. So there was quite a decline in 2019. Didn't have any specific reason for it other than just less bookings of lots and a lot of vendors retiring and changing plans there. So hopefully, right now we're within a couple $1,000s of the 2019 balance, and hopefully we can surpass that going forward. So we have more than 58,000 to work with. Even if that's what we had to work with, these are the expenses that, again, have been pretty consistent over the past 5 years. And we tried to decrease some of the expenses in different categories. In administrative, the main expense in there is $9,000 that is paid to Carol for the event coordination. She's paid 3 times per year for her efforts in coordinating the entire show. There was less, and then there's some few other administrative items in there, and I can get the details of any of these categories that you want to look at. But advertising is something we've worked on to decrease over the years. Carol's mentioned advertising in trade journals and newspapers and billboards, all of that goes in there. We're doing a lot more Facebook advertising, so hopefully we can keep that number low because that's an area where we have some opportunities. The 2019, we usually have an appreciation dinner. I think it was held in 2020, so that's why it's showing as blank there. I think it did occur. It's just the expense isn't technically.
No, we didn't do one.
We didn't do anything? Okay. Well, for 2019, we didn't do anything?
It's all volunteer food, I think.
So that should be.
No, I don't think I just don't think we did anything.
I mean,
Or do we have like pizza? We
I
had just
thought we
like
had that true barbecue stuff,
Maybe I'm
but I
thinking
don't
of-
know if that was the year before. But we had pizza. Or pizza. Okay, anyway, if it's Orinoco City permit, so this is a lot of the food vendor like $200 per each food vendor gets returned to the city of Orinoco for permitting and different things. So that's included in that line. Electric is all the electric poles when they're turned on for the food vendors. We have to pay for the electricity for those vendors. Golf carts for the show committee. Everyone has a golf cart in order to get around. So that's $1,400. The ice, we do recover some of that in our sales, but we have to pay for the ice. There was quite an increase last year. I can't remember the details, but I think they just had a increase in their cost to us. Insurance, we need to have a plan to cover the show, and that's went up again last year and the year before, but that's a policy that we have to ensure that if anything that happens during the show. Office supplies, postage for mailing out contracts, radios, we have two-way radios for all the committee members to keep in touch with that, to the info booth and around. The sheriff, we hire the sheriff for the weekend. This one, although it doesn't look like much of a decrease in the last 5 years, they were actually staffing and we paid a lot more prior to 2015. We reduced their hours. They were here a lot more hours. So I don't know what their current bid is for this year, but that's for having on-site Olmsted County Sheriff. Show expense has some supplies in it. I'd have to look at all the details of that. Sometimes there's spray paint or tools or signage. There's actually signs, a separate category for signs. We have to rent signs to put at each intersection to direct people. And then there was some banners included in that cost last year, which was
$500 or something.
striping is paid to a company that comes out and marks all the lots and puts stripes down for each of those squares. On a consistent expense. Telephone and internet is covering a monthly cost of having GovCom and long distance. So that's the porta potties around the show, and then web updates is some different things we've paid people for either hosting or actual services to update the webpage. So then we have donations at the bottom, and then a payment that we make to Grace Lutheran for use of their parking lot and their areas. And that was a change that we made a couple years ago to try to decrease expense. Might be something to revisit again in the future if our revenues continue to be down.
So is there a line item for our operating expense that we keep from year to year? You can add that sometime.
Yeah, basically we try to keep 5,000 in there at the end. So I'd have to have the running balance from the beginning balance and then the revenue and expenses, and then we have 5,000 at the end in November, which I think we will have to increase based on conversations from last week, or last month. So we have questions on any of those expenses. So there's a lot of expenses that go into the show. So it's important to kind of know when people wonder what their $100 covers. It
Thank you for
barely
breaking that
covers,
down.
a lot of the expenses.
I thought that list was super helpful. Thank you very much for providing that. One thing, are we required to drive a golf cart, or can we save money if we have a side-by-side we can drive to town and use?
So if you have your own side-by-side or golf cart.
Yeah. Yeah, so we could save money on, I would not need a golf cart, and I don't know if we ride in pairs or we ride separately, but I wouldn't need one, so that potentially could save some money. I guess I would not need a cart.
Yeah, I don't know why you couldn't use your own cart. It just, you should have a single seat. For the golf clubs typically be in rather just a flat area, so.
Yeah.
But we can mention that to Carol, to do one less golf cart.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know if
helpful.
it's based on each golf cart, if they would, give us a little bit of a break, if we could cut a couple off, that
Who do
would.
we get?
Right, I don't know how they price it out, or if it's that you just get 6 every year for the same price, or how that works, I don't know, but if it saves money, I don't need to be counted in that list.
Okay, we'll make a note of that and check with Carol.
RJ golf carts. I don't know where they're, out of.
Melissa, did you get a copy of this, or I'll email this to you later tonight?
Which form are we looking at right now?
This is the spreadsheet we just went over.
Yep, I have it.
Oh, you have, it. Okay, it did go out. Thank you. All right, this is gonna be a good tool, just to kind of talk about things as we go through, but thank you. All right, any other comments for Alyssa? Any social media update? Oh, first of all, does anybody have Kristen Rogers' contact information, email, phone numbers?
I have all of that stuff. Is she not responding? Is that the issue?
I have nothing to send. I don't have email, either email or a phone number.
Oh, let me double check what, I thought it was on that last list that Carol sent out. If it's not, I will email it to you tonight.
And yeah, Melissa, I've messaged her quite a few times and never heard anything back. So I wonder if she's just not interested anymore.
I don't think that's the case. I wonder if whatever we have on file is not correct. I
Okay.
can reach out to her and I will also provide additional contact info. I can follow up on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any updates on social media, Facebook, website?
No, I'm continuing to do what I do. I need more information about the car show, Corey, whenever you have time. I put something out there today, but
Yep.
I only have the basics.
That's fine.
So somebody asked if they can bring, if motorcycles count.
We don't have a, we're on the grass,
Yeah, I figured no.
probably not a good idea.
Yeah, I figured no, but I'll message back. But, and you guys are kind of full up anyway, right? Like you don't,
Well, I've got a good list here and I have 2019's list and give me a little more time to work on it. It looks like if all the ones that want to come back or even 80% of them from last year, we're going to be full.
okay,
But as it stands now, I think, yeah, we'll be fine.
okay.
But what you posted, I like.
That was fine, okay.
Yeah, that looked great.
Okay, so maybe you'll just like keep interest and as long as people know the details now. And that's, unless you know what I could do, is that gonna be like the trophy?
Yes.
Okay, I can take a picture of that tonight and post that, or do you wanna keep it a secret?
Well, I have a
Let's
question.
let's just save that for the agenda.
Okay.
And keep moving
Okay.
along and then we'll get to it.
Well, that's the
Yeah,
stuff I
keep
need, that's the stuff I need. I have plenty of content for Facebook and social media for all the other things. I just need more for the car show. Advertise, we're still boosting that one. We're still doing that one post and it's getting billed like every $50 every time we hit $50, we get billed, right? That's what you're getting? Okay. I don't have any other updates. I'm gonna start updating the website with the vendors and their lots, like I did 2 years ago, so people can actually look at the lot and which vendor is in what lot.
Okay, excellent.
That's all.
Super. Volunteer coordinator, Christine Medlissa.
So I put out the information for the contact list. I've got a few people that signed up, but I didn't really boost it or try to get it back out as much as I should have. I went ahead and commented on it, so it went up to the top of the page on the citizens group. So hopefully we'll get a few more that'll sign up through there. I have to talk to Melissa and see when, the National Night Out, obviously, but I don't know if there's any other things we could do beforehand where we have us like a sign up in person type of, where we could be at an event in the city.
Well, we missed the Lions Club one, and that's my fault. I should have told you
Oh,
to do that. That was on Sunday, or Saturday, but we were gone, or we were out of town, so I couldn't be
yeah.
there in myself. That would have been a good opportunity, but.
So I do have a couple comments about National Night Out. I am working on a visual, like flyer, poster kind of thing. Do I need that? I should have ready probably by Thursday. do I need to have somebody look at that and like have it approved before I take that to National Night Out, or just have somebody spell check it and be like, yeah, that looks okay, or?
Have you touched base with Geraldine, city
Okay.
office? They're doing all the planning and they sent letters out for donations and they've got donations and they're pulling together that agenda. And Geraldine and Renee are heading that up. And I'm sure they'd appreciate whatever you can help with advertising. They've done some already on the website.
Okay, and so a second thought that I had as far as reaching out other than National Night Out and providing like a in-person sign up for people that do not have a social media presence. I was curious, Dana, if it's acceptable or not. You've been doing the Tuesday nights come talk with me. Would it be appropriate if I were to come on a Tuesday night and we could advertise that people could stop by City Hall and sign up for volunteering on a night that you would be there? So the building's open. We already know that.
I mean, we could, but I'm gonna be honest. It's rare, it's only one person has ever, or two people have ever come at night. Usually people come during the day. So I'm here and it's open, but there's rarely somebody that comes.
Okay.
So I
So
don't,
maybe something that I can do is plan to speak at the next township and or the next city council meeting, just briefly get myself on the agenda to get the word out. That might be something I could try too.
well, that's super awesome that you think people listen to our city council meetings. Don't. So I don't think that'll work either. I honestly think the citizens page is your best bet.
Okay.
Over and over, that's where people get their information. And then I think now is from in the past, then that National Night Out when I think Marcy was heading it up, there was a ton of interest there. So I do think that those two things are gonna be your best bet and not to waste your time.
Okay.
Honestly, I think it would be a waste of time to do it any other way, not to be.
I'll just get Geraldine the same information that I'm going to provide at National Night Outs then to have at City Hall. So anyone that wants to or stops by there and asks about it, it will be available at any time.
It's Alyssa, if we had a PDF of the information, I think we could send it out to a couple of distribution lists, probably west or the west side.
Yeah,
of
they-
Partners groups have a couple of them.
Yeah,
that
the
I could pull.
HOAs. You guys, I have that on the agenda that you guys were gonna ask or send something to the HOAs. That would be helpful.
Correct.
But also, I started playing around in Sign Up Genius too, and just adding some slots and just getting some looks to it and just started playing around, but I haven't finalized since I want to make sure that I have all the slots and all the information and things that slots that are already open, because we have some people who, and then I've got an email for a vendor that's needs help, so there's another, area that we can have someone sign up. So Melissa, when you get the stuff that you want to do for an in-person sign up, I'd love to take a look at it, work on it and help out however you want me to.
Yep, I will have that ready by Thursday. I just barely survived my daughter's high school graduation yesterday. So I now have full time to dedicate to my Gold Rush responsibilities. So I think let's touch base because I'm going to have a lot more free time now.
So talk about the river or the HOAs.
Yeah.
So you have Cedar Woodlands 1 and 2.
Yeah,
Okay, and Riverwood Hills is Steve McNamara.
that's what, I can never remember who that is,
And-
Steve.
Make sure I give that to you before.
Yeah, give me that, because then I'll go ahead and I'll send what I have now. And then, for just the contact list, and then let them know that the signups will be coming out soon and, that type of thing. So that way we can kind of push to those two groups,
And the
so.
new River Bend
Oh.
HOA was just established here last week. So I'll give you the president's name of that.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
But there's
So
other
this is River,
HOAs, but I don't know much
Dan
about
is your,
here.
Yeah, Zumbro Hills is, I can give you that one.
is it River Hills or River Park on the west? side?
River Bend.
No, on the west side though.
Riverwood Hills.
Riverwood Hills, yeah, that's the
Hills,
biggest
thanks.
one, that's 100 plus.
No, that's cool. Good.
And Zumbro Hills.
Zumbro Hills, yeah, is. So, send you an email.
Yeah, thank, No, that'll be good, because then I'll push up what I have now, and then once Melissa and I figure out what else we want to communicate, then we can put that all out then too.
Yeah, with the National Night Out there, Geraldine and Renee have been working on it, they haven't talked too much about the logistics yet, but in the past, we've just had a card table with a sign on it and chairs, so. Okay, T-shirts. I know we've been talking about those. Any updates? I think that's pretty well.
That's Carol. I don't know anything about that.
And I think that's,
She's getting them through, I can't remember.
5K update.
Yeah, you guys, we're doing kind of poor on the 5K. We have 12 whole people signed up. But I got reassured today because I just double checked with the race management company. They said that's what they're seeing, and they're seeing really slow to sign up, but then in the weeks prior, it gets back up. But people are just hesitant because of so much being canceled in the past to sign up early. So I think that's what we're seeing. I've said it many, many, many times. I'm not a runner. I don't know the groups to share with. So if you do, please share, because I have done as much as I can. I have found just by digging on the website or on Facebook and in Rochester area, and I have promoted as much as I can or ask them to, but I'm sure I'm missing stuff just because I don't know. I don't have any contacts. The people I know are crazy runners, like ultra marathon runners. They don't run 5K. You know what I mean?
And we found, we're in the high school league. Like, we can't recruit our cross-country kids because we're in that time frame, right?
No, I think.
Yeah,
I think
the
we
tryout,
have, like,
start the
16th
second,
or
yeah, it's like
something
the
that.
12th, or, it's right around the middle of August.
Yeah.
And then they start running, that's third week of August.
But I think they can compete if there's no monetary, like, I think they can, it's tricky. I have to look back into that again. I can ask.
Andrew ran cross-country for 5 years. I don't think they can. I don't think they can sign up for any races after they start.
Okay, after practice, sure.
Yeah.
So my other, I'm confident if we could all just agree to really push that out, help me push that out, because I just don't have, I'm doing what I can, what I know, but I don't know it all about racing. My other thing is I'm really wondering how sponsorship is coming along. So I have gotten 6 sponsors. And I haven't gotten it. I think, Alyssa updated.
I volunteered for the Casey's one and I submitted that.
You did. Okay, perfect. And did you hear back?
Haven't heard back yet, but they said as long as it was in within 30 days before, they
Okay.
would get back to us. So
All
I
right.
have a confirmation and I can follow up if I don't hear
Perfect.
soon, but.
And then has anybody, and Melissa's said for sure Orinoco auctions. Is anyone else?
I have 3. I have myself, I have Jason's business, and I have the auction house. So there's 3 at 100.
So what is
Is
yourself Remax or is Jason Remax or what?
Jason's Bell Mortgage.
Bell Mortgage?
Yep.
Okay.
And then I will do, I can do Tilly's and Gas and Go too.
Okay, and Melissa, what I need from you then is the logos for the shirt.
Yep. And I am getting those ready. I'll have those ready for you on Thursday as well.
Okay, just send them to me via
Email.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Has anybody else been able to make
She's recommended
contact?
doing mine. I just haven't put my previous shirt on to go around and just.
Okay, so at this point, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we need more to make this work, especially since we don't have people signing up. So,
And I have a line out to Hilltop, but I have
okay,
not called them, but I have my information stacked up
Okay.
here.
is there anyone else that could help us out?
My name's on 3 or 4 of those, I think, right? You want to send that updated list out?
Is it in the shared
It's the-
drive or is
it's
it?
Yeah, it's a Google thing. It's there.
So it's updated.
It's always
Link to it
updated.
or whatever.
The link is, yeah, been sent.
That'd be great, thank you.
Yeah. So, the thing is I need, like next meeting is the absolute latest I can get anything. So, and if we don't, I mean, I hate to, I don't know, if we don't get sponsors and we don't get runners, then we're just gonna cancel the race and we're out a lot of money. So I need you guys to help me. Thanks.
What do we need to ask for?
So I sent out all this information.
Okay, I'll go look at all that.
Yeah, but I can give it to you here. I have a sponsor, like, this is what you give them. Thank you for sponsoring. You can give them this sponsor sheet, like hang this at your place if you want. Then there's all the cards we need to distribute.
Yep.
So I just need
Got it.
help doing all that and getting the word out and getting sponsors.
Okay.
And then
Dana, if you had to guess, how many more sponsorships or what kind of numbers are you looking at that we need in the next 30 days?
So I'd like at least, I think we had 15 or so last year. So yeah, if we could get, 6 more, wait, what are we at? Did I say we're at 8?
You said
6 months,
6.
whatever she just said,
So I think,
9 maybe.
yeah, if we could get like 6 more sponsors, I'd be comfortable. They are,
Okay,
the food shelf and church are going to talk about it too, so I might have another one. Christine, I think I have you down for asking Tim Graham. Did you ever do that? Okay.
Until you said it, I'm like.
He did sponsor one year, so he
Yeah.
might be willing to do
I'll
it again.
ask. I've got
Okay.
a star in my notes.
Even in River Park, you want me to take?
Yeah,
Well, they're like almost backdoor neighbors probably.
Yeah, it's up to you,
Oh, yeah, of
but
course.
yeah,
Yeah.
we had our senior photos with them and,
Well, and they've done it before.
but
Yeah.
yeah, when you said sponsors, I'm like, oh,
Gas and Go, Melissa, were you gonna ask Gas and Go? I have you by there.
yep, I'm gonna ask that. Yep, I'm gonna talk to Chantel, and then I also will talk to Tammy over at Tilly's. And then, now that I know like what you need, I have 2 or 3 other people I can try to tap. Hawks Home Services in Orinoco is another neighbor of mine and Corey's. I can ask him. I would bet he would probably do it. And there's a couple local, Remax people that love to have their names on stuff. So I will try to tap a couple of them as well and see what we can come up with.
I know Hilltop, because Hilltop and the other Camper World, those were gonna be,
I have those guys.
you're gonna do those, okay? They've done it in the past too, well,
Yeah.
before they change. So I know in Boulder Dam, I'm just trying to like get all the people who've done it before, you know what I mean?
What about, does anybody have any contacts or know anybody over at Thompson's Garage Door? I mean, they're new to Orinoco, but they seem to really like it here. I wonder if somebody could reach out to them.
I can do Thompson's. I've talked to the owner several times.
Okay, I'll put you on there. All right, that looks good. We just really need to shore this up before, because the t-shirt printing needs to happen, so we can't get people's. So not only do I need,
like, sent to Erin for Potbellies.
yep, she's in, yep, I got her. So what I need is, before next meeting, probably I'm gonna need you to get, collect the checks that can be written out to Orinoco, downtown Orinoco Gold Rush Days, $100. And then I can send you the PDF. I think someone asked me just to send them, so you guys you have all this in an email somewhere, but you can also grab them in person, or you grab them here. But I need the logo so that I can get the t-shirt started. That's the big thing. That's the only reason this stuff is, a time sensitive, is because we need their logo so they're on the t-shirt. And then also if you can fill in the Google Doc, because then you can like look at what you need, like I need, you know, and I want to know their t-shirt size, because we always give everybody a t-shirt who sponsors. So I always ask for their t-shirt size. And I'll just send out all that again. I'll just, as a reminder after this.
Good, thank you. All right. Corey, car show.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't think it's gonna be a problem filling my list out. I got finally today from Mike Goodman's wife, what's her name?
Marcy.
Marcy, thank you. And this is not last year, 2019. And then just contacts on my own, I've already got 25 that are for sure's. So that won't be a problem. I contacted the Brian's Trophy Store and More.com. He can make a trophy. This is one of my personal ones, but I kind of mocked it up with a gold rush thing on it. But he can make a trophy this size, 16-inch, with a car, a vintage looking car on it for $22.
What?
Yeah, that's all they are.
Wow.
So,
$22.
I don't know if there's any money in
For
the,
myself every week.
what's that?
How much?
$22. I'm buying one for myself every week. Heather, congratulations for making it happen.
She got through the week.
You can't buy your own trophy. That's not
You
right.
could buy it, someone else can give it to you.
This is true. Postman, 9 o'clock.
The
Show up and
participation
leave it there.
award. But is there any money in the budget for trophies or, My
We
second-
haven't talked about it, other than,
no?
If we can get
We
some
haven't talked about
donations.
Well, the other
well, we
option,
talked about something for the best of car, there's that one.
yeah, spectator choice
Choice
award.
yeah.
Well, are we charging this year to enter or not?
Well, that was my question. If there's no money, direct money for a couple of trophies, we could have like a $5 a entry fee for car show
That'd
participants.
be $325. That's a nice trophy.
Is that normal, Corey?
What's that?
Is that like the normal thing to do, is to charge
An
$5?
entry fee?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a $5 or $7 entry fee.
And then does everyone, so Marcy did those little plaques or something like that.
A Dash plaque. or
Do you know what
something.
I'm, yeah,
Oh, a dash plaque. That's a good idea.
that's what we did before. I don't know where that money came from. Anybody remember?
She just donated.
She might have,
She donated.
She might have donated it.
she might have.
I never did see the plaque itself, I'm not sure, you could ask Marcy. where she
But-
got it or
You'll have to
something.
get a hold of Marcy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know the guy that won first place last year was just outside of Orinoco here by Sandy Point, where Fisherman's in Sandy Point area. I could contact him. I've got him on my list.
The $5 doesn't seem unreasonable, just
No,
for fun,
I don't think everybody would.
and it'd help cover our expenses and
Right.
So you just collect the $5 that day then?
I think
Is that how
so.
it works?
And that would cover
And by
trophies.
July, we should have a pretty good idea, for the July meeting, how many cars we might have, or at least contacts.
We talked about 65 as the magic number, right?
Yep, still the number.
And with the additional lot, it shouldn't be a problem because we got less cars and more space.
Right, so what we found out from Carol is that there was a misinterpretation of what the property owner was saying, that we're going to use the property to the west of the current lot. It's an open space right now, it's a private property. Carol knows the people, and they're going to be here. What they were saying is you can use the lot, just save them 40 feet of area, 40 by 40 for a camper and 2 cars. Otherwise, we have the whole lot.
Okay.
So we did the opposite. We thought we only had 40 by 40, so. So we'll mark that out, leave them 40 by 40 foot area, and so it's just gonna kind of spread the cars out a bit more probably, so. And we're gonna,
It'd be simpler for us if he marked off the space that he wants, then we know.
they live in Pennsylvania.
I know that'd be too simple.
So I was gonna I'd do the same thing, to put the flags out and say, this is, and send them a picture of it and say, this is what we're gonna do. So. And they've
If he
agreed
was-
to let us cut down a couple trees that are dead, one small one and one a bit larger. We don't want any heavy winds or strong winds knocking anything over, so. volunteer to take that down. There is a guy that does mow it. I have this, and he mows it regularly, and if he hasn't mowed it, we can mow it, but otherwise we'll see if he can mow it. Keith Katz is his name. Local guy.
And then you guys have volunteers for the parking attendant or?
Melissa? Are you awake?
I am right here.
Hey, did you get a chance to talk to Fisher? Would he be able to maybe direct some, people into the parking lot?
That is definitely, tell me how many people you think you need, and I will make sure you have boys for that. Christine and I will get those slots filled and or wrangle up some teens for that, no problem.
Yeah, definitely one in the parking area and maybe one on the street.
Yeah, and we'll have to go rush people.
Yeah, so is one enough?
Corey is excited to do that again.
I think that's
Yeah, super
one in the park, like
Right.
directed, but otherwise we can help.
I'm a pro at it, so.
Get them all from one way.
So I guess Fisher would be adequate then.
Okay, come up with a poster other than what we've already done for the 5K, or
Have not.
any thoughts on that?
Don't have a lot of.
Um,
Well, I kind of like what Dana did. You think we should be more specific, like, plan on meeting at Gaston-Go at 1 o'clock. And then your agenda takes off from there, 1:30. We'll come down Minnesota Avenue. So just tell people to meet, pre-register. Hopefully I'll have them filled out. Beforehand, or maybe we'll just register right there.
I don't know, what did they do last time?
but
What did you
what-
do? You were there, you were
Well,
part
we
of
went
it.
to the cruise and then we registered in the lot.
Yeah, they were at the table
Oh,
after they parked their cars, they walked over. So we're trying to control the number by doing the registration out there
Yes.
and not allowing any more people to come in.
Corey, are you taking are you getting emails or how are you collecting registrations?
Well, like I said, I've got all this information from last year. I have emails and most of them have a contact number on it. So I'm pretty sure once I get a half a day to sit down and actually make contacts with these people, that I'll just fill out the list. It'll say, yeah, meet up there at 1 o'clock. And then we can assign them a number maybe. If they want to have
Corey.
part.
Corey, why don't you and I hook up this week? I got to finish this flyer for National Night Out for signups for volunteers. We'll throw something together for the car show. I can throw together really quickly like a registration form that if you have emails or you have phone numbers, we can text it, we can email it, whatever. Let's just get them to fill stuff out. If you feel like you want to do those dash plaques, we can actually just assign them a number as their sort of like confirmation that they're in. And then we'll follow up with an email with the details on where to meet and what time and what the route looks like and whatnot later.
So do you still want to wait? Because do you want information out there, like who to contact, yet, or are you wanting to control it by
I
contacting?
think I'll control it because, like I said, once I go through this, I don't think,
Okay,
I don't want to be inundated by too many,
okay,
because I think I have enough to really fill out that 65.
okay.
I just had to get confirmations from them all. And the trophies, he said they only needed 2-week heads up to prepare them.
Yeah, I don't, for $22, we could have 5 trophies.
Unless
More
the
than-
grand prize could be maybe a little larger. They're not that expensive. I was kind of surprised too, but.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I would have no problem. So if we did, if we had like the first, second, and third best in class, and then,
People
Overall-
choice, that way the crowd gets to participate a little bit in the People Choice Award, which is kind of a little different spin on a category, which I think people enjoy voting for who they think.
I
Should
put
win.
that on there because I wrote it down in the notes last time.
Yeah,
Is
good.
that okay?
Well, I
Okay.
think that's a
I
great.
included it and I thought we had decided on that, so. Okay,
so I make a motion that we allow or spend up to say $125 for trophies
Second.
and also charge a $5 registration.
I'll second that.
So we're covering ourselves of the win-win here.
If I get people that want to prepay, how would you like that? I mean, you don't want $5 checks coming to you. I guess that'd be all right, wouldn't it? Or who would they, do they make it the Gold Rush or they make City of Orinoco?
Might
Or
be a downtown Orinoco Gold Rush, they're gonna write a check out.
you gotta write all that out, downtown Orinoco?
Trust me, I type it,
Okay, well, that's why I'm asking.
I type it like 100 times a day and you get used to it, but I still screw up. Orinoco is the thing I screw up out of all of them. I'm like,
I
Orinoco,
mean,
there's so
if
many
they put
O's.
Gold Rush,
Mine
or they
starts out
put
O-R-N,
DOGR,
don't you?
they'll take it at the bank, so.
Sorry.
I think they'll cash it for DOGR or Gold Rush.
Well, I could have them make it, however you, downtown Orinoco Gold Rush.
That's what I
We
would
should
say.
really have a Venmo account or something to make it really.
If they want to donate more, that's even better.
Yeah. All right, that's how I'm gonna write it down.
Gold Rush is our title, is our.
And then have it mailed. See, do you guys have a PO or do you have a mail come
Yeah.
directly in?
There's a PO box.
266. 266. PO Box 266. 266. Okay, got it.
Okay, we need to,
So we'll just have to like watch those checks, keep track of them.
Yeah, I mean, it might be easier if they just bring $5, but.
That's what I'm thinking too. $5 cash at the,
I mean, we could do that. Would that mean people, because we don't need it ahead of time.
no, we don't need it. Let's just pay at the registration, gas and go.
Because our friends lending us their spare lot aren't requiring any payment.
That might be a
It's a donation, right?
payment in kind or
That's the way I
something.
understand
In-kind donation of $5 to cover costs.
Sorry.
In-kind donation of $5.
For your car registration.
Okay, so we'll put that on there. We need to vote on that. We didn't actually vote.
Yeah, okay. Any other discussion? Not all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. Okay. Great. Give yourself work on.
Okay.
All right, good. Postcards, posters, see love here.
Right there.
I ordered more, we got more. I need you to take them, to put them out where you think people would see them, in Rochester, in Pine Island, anywhere. I'm sending them to some of our vendors who in the past have actually asked us to make postcards and send them to them. So I'm sending a big packet off tomorrow to Decorah, Iowa. I've sent some, I gave some to some people in Pine Island. So if you know of any vendors that are local and go to shows, because not all of our vendors do that, you know what I mean? Like not all of our vendors go to a lot of shows. Sometimes our show is their only show. But if you know local ones, I'd be happy to distribute these and then they can take them with to their shows. So just, or you go ahead and take them. I have plenty. I've got this box full of stuff now, so.
We can't arbitrarily just send them out to our list of dealers either, vendors can we?
It's so expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, the packets are spendy that I've been sending out. I've just been donating that. But I know, I don't think that's a cost. I'm just sending them to people who I know in the past have asked, or who go to a lot. I actually might send some to Margaret, the fabric lady, because she travels all over the country. I'm gonna reach out to her.
Yeah, you and Lori made some good contacts here,
Yeah, that was a really good, we
walking
did,
around, so.
we did. So that's, I don't really have any other updates.
Okay. Camper host think we've got that.
Well, our camper host, I have not gotten a hold of because he just had, well, his wife just had a baby on Wednesday, or Thursday. I had sent messages out on Wednesday and got a message back saying he's out because his wife is having a baby tomorrow. So,
We'll follow up.
but I'll follow up with them when I follow up with the donations for the Hilltop. Yeah. But they didn't think that was a problem at all, so
That's reasonable.
we'll take care of it.
Your neighbor.
Well, Rick didn't have a baby. His friend that he was recommending to do the host is having a baby.
Oh, I see. That cleared up.
Thank you.
I was like, wait a second.
Baby showers happening when there's no baby there, so, yeah. All right, Civil Air Patrol, I think that's all fixed. Thanks with Carol. Grace Lutheran Church contract, it was sent to them, Carol sent it. Have not heard anything back. Needs to follow up with Carol. One thing about the pine tree lot, you may notice that there's a row of trees gone. I talked with Keith, I found out there was a gentleman, Keith Couts, landscaping. Talked to him last Tuesday and he was contacted by the church. So it's been seeded and straw put down now over the weekend. So hopefully with some rains and cooler weather, we'll have grass by August. And we still have vendors along the road there, so.
Okay,
You gonna do a rain dance or what?
Yeah.
They worked here about 3 weeks ago, but that's the last time I did it.
so that the vendor that was worried about that has been informed
So
that,
Stephanie or Stephen or somebody was asking, they contact City Hall and we got them squared away, I guess, so. I mean, just if we shared that with Geraldine and Renee, if any questions come in about Gold Rush, they should contact Carol. Food tickets, I think we're okay there with the same approach. Ticket, the 5K bid will give them a $2 off food voucher. And we'll, the VFW and the fire department will give 20 meal tickets to go into the volunteer usage during the event. Marking of lots, something I need to start spending just a little bit of time. There's a couple places I haven't marked. Gets a bit cooler, we'll make sure that gets done. Hand sanitizers. I think we can cross that off or.
yeah, that needs to be taken off.
Yeah.
I wrote that last time.
Is there anything else that we've talked about here that I should take off? I think that's.
One question on the marking of lots. If you're gonna have lot marking days or weekends or things like that, I think we should start getting them on the calendar because like my weekends are full. And I know, 2 years ago, I wasn't able to be at quite a few of I had no idea it was a thing anyway. And it's,
No, there's no reason why we can't do that now,
yeah, it's middle
especially
of,
the ones leading up to the 2 weekends before and the Wednesday nights. And stuff.
yeah. So if there are things that we can do that aren't on the weekends that we could do during the week or.
We did it during the week. It was all during the week.
Some of them, we did the week of,
Yeah,
most of them were Saturday morning.
Yeah, there was a lot of Saturday mornings.
Some
Oh, maybe I'm talking about the stupid stabbing the ground.
Because I didn't make any of those, because I was
Some of them we
working.
did.
That was weeknights.
Mhm.
I put white plates on some of the corners.
Well, and you put the magnet thing down there, or you put metal down there now, so
Yeah, I did put the metal down.
so now we can just
They're
use,
painted white, so hopefully we can find them.
And we don't have Paul. Do
Nancy Quimby had somebody make them up.
where everything was.
you think Paul would join us for those scavenger hunts?
What's that?
Do you think Paul would join us for those scavenger hunts?
Oh, Paul, yeah, you gotta ask him.
I know, he was
He knows where they're
necessary.
at.
I know, he does. He put them all there originally. Yeah, so do we want to look at dates or right now, you're saying?
No, I'm just saying, we
No, I
don't
think
have to
we'll-
do it now, but
Okay.
if we can
Because we have
start
some pretty
thinking
well
about
defined
that.
dates that weekends before, I'll send an email out and. with those dates.
Does anybody need to know what that is, or have we talked about that?
I have no idea what you're doing.
So
So,
have you
go ahead.
been to Gold Rush?
Yep.
So you know how like everything's marked with white lines?
Yep.
So they come and paint, but before they do that, we have to find these marks in the ground that show like the corners so that when they come to, and then we mark them with like a orange spray paint or whatever, so they know where to start and go, you know what I mean? And then we like measure. It's a whole process and it works slick. But the finding of those those corner markers is tricky, but we think we've solved it with,
Yeah, with the.
now we're gonna use a metal detector.
Metal detectors are a magnet.
Yeah.
I got I got one.
Wow.
Two magnets with on a long pole. You can just reach over the ground and hopefully just pull it down.
So it was literally like a scavenger hunt, stabbing the ground, looking for these big cement. It's funny.
So we marked, one night we marked the corners
Yeah.
for the major corners of the lots. And then the next time we meet, we start measuring off, they're 15 by 20 foot lots, most of them. And so we, again, so you measure them off and you hit spray paint. And then on Saturday morning, the Saturday before the event is when we hire a company that comes out and they go out and do all the striping and they actually make up the lines of the lots. And we
And basically you
give
just have
people
to
directions and
stand
that type of thing.
one person here, so that they can line from one person to the next.
Mhm.
So you just, it's not hard at that part, but you just have to like be their guide, so they go in a straight line.
Huh.
Like out in the parking lot, there's some black marks that we've marked over the
Mhm.
years.
There's like all these
That's
mysterious
important.
T's all over town, like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what they are.
And there's a lot of marks up and down Minnesota
Yeah.
Avenue that I went last August or a year ago. I went around and marked all those just because they're going to be worn off if had we not done that this year or for this year, because we went 2 years without marking them, so.
So
Anyway, okay.
it's just like you learn as you go, that kind of stuff, and there's no real talent to it, except,
And then that Saturday and that Wednesday night is when we lay the actual, there's a tag, white tag with the vendor number on it, and we lay that, essentially just lay it on that area of that lot. So when the vendors come in Thursday noon, they know, and they'll know which lot is they're assigned, and that just helps them identify that. And then each one of us as a committee will be at, one will be a D lot, one will be an E lot, B, G, K, whatever. And you'll kind of be the point person to kind of go around and ask if anybody's having trouble finding their lot. You'll have a directory, kind of point them to where their direction, that type of thing. Sometimes you play traffic control. People are coming in with their trailers, you got, you know, but they're all very nice. I mean, it just takes time. Okay. Let's see. Chamber of Commerce. I signed up to be the kind of the liaison with the Rochester Chamber of Commerce as the downtown Orinoco Gold Rush Days representative. And we're a new member. I think we talked about that at the last meeting. So I've been to one event. I went down to they had a AM Espresso, which was down at the Berkman, the new apartment. So I went down there last Friday morning from 7:30 to about 8:30. I couldn't stay as long as I wanted to, but anyway, it was very, you know, you just, it ends up being just a lot of networking and people. Yes,
that's when you should bring all of our promotional materials.
that's why I should, yes.
Next AM
Well, I had a cup of coffee
espresso.
and a donut. I didn't know.
I see. Now, next
So
time,
there's-
yeah,
Yeah, that's
Next
an
time.
excellent point, yeah, yeah.
next time bring
So-
that.
And everybody I talked to knew about downtown Oracle Gold Rush. So, Are you
Good.
having it this year? I said, yeah, we are, you know, so
Good.
it's out there. It's just encouraging people to, we're open this year, so.
So is there, I've sent them digital things, but do they want our information to put around? Like, I don't know how that works
I
and,
think you have to do that yourself. Like, I think you go to the event and you'd bring it.
okay,
They won't, they're not, I don't think they're gonna give it out.
okay. So next time, I'll just, you go home with some of this and then you go have more coffee and donuts and
Name it
then.
with you and then.
Cause yeah, good. I'm gonna do the same.
Next outdoor event, I'll rent a drone and drop them over. everybody.
Yeah, and
No,
I'm
That's a good
the,
point. I'll ask, I can check with the people at the chamber about if that's proper or how they do things like that. And you're doing the same thing with Pine Island
yeah,
too,
yeah,
Chamber of Commerce. so,
Yeah.
Okay. All right, next time, lot statistics. I just, So just a general overview. This as of June 8th, we've got, well, $36,000, and we have 297 paid lots, 871 total.
297 paid lots.
Yeah.
And what did you say?
And there's 871 total. But the 871 generates $94,900, which, you know, we've done that for a long time.
Right.
And there's 233 dealers signed up.
233 dealers. Okay.
Did you say 239 prepaid vendors?
297 at page, yeah.
297 all prepaid? That's a question for Carol, probably.
What's that?
Maybe that's a
297
question
are
for
paid.
Carol.
Yeah.
Yeah, some dealers have multiple lots.
Yes, many.
So it's coming along, but in compared to this time in 2019, 2018, we're in that $41,000 range. So not too far off, but like last year in 2019, there was 15 deposits came in at one time. So that's where the big dollars come in, and that can still happen in June too, so.
Yeah.
Do you have records of some of those years, how many vendors were present also?
It's probably there someplace. I don't have it on this.
Just curious, I mean, what do we look like compared to past years?
We can find that data. Is there?
I'm sure Carol has it somewhere too.
Yeah. Okay. RG Geis is, they relocated out of Rochester to Albert Lee. And we're looking for them, and they relocated to Albert Lee because they had a larger warehouse, but they're still able to provide us ice. Carol talked to the gentleman, and I gave him a call again today just to confirm, but what they'll have is a trailer similar to what we had the last year, like a pull behind smaller trailer.
By the info booth?
And, pardon me?
By the info booth?
By the info booth, yeah. We probably won't have a truck here, but the trailer will hold like 120 bags between the 20 pounds and the 5-pound bags. So we will have them bring over the first trailer. What we'd like to do, this is confirmed, but Carol shared that with him. She talked to him before she left. And I was going to follow up, but we used about 160 bags, I guess, 20-pound bags, something like that, in 2019. So we'll bring the one trailer over for Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday morning, we'd ask them to bring a second trailer over with another 120 bags, to make sure we have enough for Saturday and Sunday, so we don't have 2 trailers sitting here at our expense. So that's our plan, is to have him bring that second trailer over early Saturday morning. We think that would help us get us through the year. We also talked about, and we've had $5 20-pound bags for some time. And just like everything else, we think we should consider increasing the price for a 20-pound bag.
How much are they charging us?
That's a good question. I don't think I have that. Unless you know, Alyssa, I don't have any. I will find that out and send it to you, or send it to the committee. So I'm thinking we should consider raising it a couple dollars, maybe $3, $8, I think $10 might be a stretch, but I do think it's been $5 for years. And
Can we wait and decide how much to raise it to until we find out what the cost is on it?
well, we'll find out what we.
Find out next time. And then, like, how much do they charge for a 20-pound bag up at Gas and Go?
So in 2019, we paid $1,200 for the ice. So let's see if Kara has some details unless you.
A 20-pound bag of ice at Gas and Go is over $7. I know I bought 8 of them this weekend.
Okay.
Don't have to go get emergency ice is all I'm saying. But I would think that somewhere between $7 and $8 a bag is going to be right on par with what you'd pay if you had to run to the gas station and get a 20-pound bag.
And just the convenience of it being here. It makes a little more, having a $5 bill is easier than ones.
I know, that's the only problem.
But at the same time, we need to help
Most of
cover our
them pay
costs.
with 20s though anyway, so we just have to have a little change.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Most people pay with a 20 anyway, it seems like, so you have to have a lot of change regardless.
So you're right, it may take a little change, but a little
Yeah.
more change, but I think we need to
Yep, I think
increase
it's
it and I guess we can, we'll do some background and maybe decide our July meeting then.
is it 20-pound bag we said? How many is that trailer gonna hold? 120?
I want to say
Bags?
120, but
120 bags?
I'll get more deals.
Okay.
20 pounds, yeah. There's a combination, we didn't sell many 5-pound bags, very few.
So what, we have 5 or 20? Is that what we had?
We had
I
5
don't
or
remember
20s,
that.
yeah.
Okay. We could do, or do they not even do 10-pound bags of ice? You can tell I don't buy a lot of ice.
I think that's the typical 5 or 20.
5 or
even at-
20?
Even in a store, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The golf carts, check about that one less price. And we will keep them over here in Carol's daughters and son-in-law's property where Carol used to live. In the courtyard, Andy will take care of having the keys available, all that. Thursday morning, Wednesday night, typically is when you can pick them up. And, some people drive them home.
What?
Who's Andy?
Who's Andy?
Oh, I thought you saw Andy. Andy's Carol's son-in-law.
Thank you. I don't think anybody else in the room knew who Andy was.
either.
Sandy and Andy.
So I would like to discuss like, since so many people are new this year, like a real like breakdown of duties on the weekend of Gold Rush. Because, you know, there was so many people that we've lost that really knew what to do with traffic and with how to handle people and where do you step in and where do you not step in and all that stuff. So maybe at our July meeting, we really break it down. And maybe,
Whole activities and
yeah,
expectations.
yes. And like, it would be really good if Joanne was here too, because she has been doing this for so long and, you know, just. You've been doing it for a long time. I mean, it's really just you two and Carol and Joanne, you know, the rest of us are new. Have you volunteered before, Corey?
Oh, God, 30 years ago. So
Yeah, okay.
Merle was still, you know, it's totally run differently than it was
Sure.
back then.
You notice succession planning is on the agenda as well, and if we're going through all the effort to talk about what happens when, it would probably be helpful in that regard too, to put together, if I'm sure it exists, and if it doesn't, like a little book of like you know, 3 weeks out, this is what gets done by whom. You know, week of, you know, on Tuesday, we always do this, on Wednesday, we always do this.
Yep.
You know, these are the contractors that you're hiring on this week, you know, that, you know, and whatever. And that way we won't have to do it every single year.
Well, and it
We
kind of
haven't-
goes, I was just gonna say, it kind of goes along with the keys are gonna be with Andy. And you're the only person, well, maybe the two of you are the only people in the room who know who Andy is and where the keys are gonna be. Cause nobody else has any idea, and it's the same thing with the ice, it's the same thing with the golf carts, like, who orders the golf carts, where do they come from? They just all of a sudden show up, all of a sudden the ice shows up, all of a sudden the radios show up.
Yep, that's all Carol.
The cart, you know, the trailer, Gold Rush trailer gets moved to the correct spot and plugged in with power, and how does that happen? And so I think there's a lot that goes on that even as a committee, we never talk about, it just like
Right.
appears.
Yeah.
And it's perfect, it's Carol, but as a committee, we're not.
And the committee is always evolving because it's consists of the council, which changes every 2 years, possibly, maybe not always, but possibly can change every 2
Well,
years.
and like last year,
Yeah.
we walked into the trailer and I kind of got who are you? I'm like, no, who are you? You haven't been to one of our meetings and you're asking me who I am? Like, I don't know what's going on here, but I don't like it. So I think we just need to have that kind of clear.
No, that's a good point. We do have a task list. We've used it in 2019. I pulled out a task list and it identifies those weekends. We can add to that task list the things that, you're right, there's a lot of things that happen to just appear. We rent tables from Pine Islands for some of the vendors, and who drops off the golf carts and who does the ice and Civil Air Patrol. So there's a lot behind the scenes. And I think that will, we're almost to the point on the agenda of the succession planning, and kind of give you a background why that's on the agenda.
Also be great for volunteer recruitment too, because rather than just, you know, saying, hey, we need volunteers for Gold Rush, we can say, you know, we need 2 volunteers to do 8-hour shifts parking, right? Or whatever, parking consists of A, B, and C. And that'll probably help the yield too, and then get more folks involved.
So that's,
Yeah, we'll have that.
that's kind of the
when we do
description
slots
you're
and
doing,
stuff.
the volunteers, the ice and
Yeah,
garbage and.
yeah, we have all the duties and then the time slots and then the number of time slots will all be.
Well, even for like the lot marking, I mean, we could recruit, instead of all of us going to do lot marking and just having us, we could recruit a high school sports team that's looking for volunteer activities to come on a Saturday morning and help with that. They may not be able to come and do a weekend of Gold Rush, but they could come for a few hours on a Saturday or a Wednesday night when we're looking for metal plates. But I mean, flagging the lots, like my kids came and helped last year, and you know, Andrew helped unload trailers the day that they were unloading, which was awesome.
Recruit the HOAs too.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to get to know your neighbors that you haven't seen in the last 18 months? You know, you guys are all doing 6 to 8 PM on Tuesday.
I'm just saying, there's a lot, I think there's a lot that we do that we could probably get other people's help with, and that could make them feel more a part of it, and maybe recruit them for additional.
Okay, no, good comments. Sentence to serve, this is, we work at the sheriff department. These are kids and adults, teenagers and adults that need to work community time off. We've used them in the past, and so there'll be a group of, it varies from 10, 15 people that come out. Deputy sheriff and charges group brings them out in a van, and they work real close with our public works, Kane Dolan. And so we have, basically there's at least 3 items that they deal with. One is we have garbage cans all over the area. There's like 100 plus of those. And so right now they're stored up at the reservoir in the chain link fence. And so they bring those out, and then we have a location of where they go. We have a map, and pictures, and so that's one of the things they do. They also put in the no parking sticks that are orange. We place those along a lot of different streets around here for no parking on cars. They will also help with, the hallway is open for the bathroom use. So there's plastic that we put down, and they do that the Sunday or the day before to protect the floors and everything, so. You had a question, Dan?
Well, I just thought about on our agenda tomorrow. Sorry, that made me think about our. Never mind.
So they'll be here Wednesday and Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday morning is when the vendors line up, and at noon, they'll all come in at noon to set up. And they will come back on Monday to help with the cleanup. They'll pick up the barrels, they'll pick up the sticks, that type of thing. Really saves, the committee used to do that, and that was just a horrendous amount of work that, we still have a lot of work to, but that's just a big help. Or it's a lot of work for our public works people, so. Okay, succession planning, the reason that's on there, Carol talked to me about a week and a half ago or so before she left. And she's coming up on 30 years of doing the event coordinator. And so she would like to retire. Not this year. She will continue as a mentor during next year. And so there's a lot of, for her, sometimes a 24/7 job, but that's because she's handling a lot of these items that we saw on the sheet earlier in the meeting with all these expense items and everything. So this isn't, we're not making any decisions or anything tonight. I just want to bring this to everyone's attention that she's talked to me, and she would like to kind of take graciously turn the committee over, or turn the activities over to however we want to structure it. I have copies of the current, her job description, if you will. And we can use that as a guide. But I would think that between now and our November annual meeting, if you will, is that when we can have something prepared, how we're going to move forward in 2021 or 22, of how we might be structured. I think there's, in my conversations with Carol, she thinks there's a lot of enthusiasm and wherewithal to maybe restructure how we go ahead with going forward with an event coordinator, taking some of those responsibilities of that we've talked about on show expenses, and maybe divvy some of those things up with the committee members. And we still need an event coordinator that does the 24/7, taking care of the contracts, the phone calls, dealing with the vendors essentially, assigning the lots, that type of thing. But a lot of the extra important peripheral work, we can maybe divvy that up with committee responsibilities, is one thought. So we'll continue to talk about it. But I just want to bring that to everybody's attention that we need to seriously give this some work. And like I said, when she came into the job 30 years ago, there's a guy by the name of Ed Simon. Corey, you're about the only one that might know who that is, but when Ed was he came before Merle or after Merle, but
yeah. All I remember is we painted the lines, we rented the little line painters like they use at the football fields and whatnot, and painted the lines and set all the garbage can, in various places.
Yeah.
Everything else kind of a blur. Because after that was done, it was beer drinking time.
Before and after the striping.
Before, during, and after. Yep, some of the lines got a little wiggly, but it worked out.
Get a trophy for
But,
that too?
What?
Did you get a trophy for that one too?
No, just ribbons. Participation ribbons.
So that's, and Carol wanted to bring that up, you just worked out that she's gone this week too, to bring this up and, I don't think-
30 years.
so I think it's very, we knew the time was coming and it's here, so now we need to seriously look about how we're gonna move forward in next year. At the same time, we haven't paid Carol either. Back in 2019, about this time, we paid her a third of our salary. And that was $2,600, it's equivalent to about $8,000 a year. I think that's right, yeah.
9,000.
So there's, because right now she's working free gratis, which isn't right either. Should be paid for all the time that she does put in. She's always been paid in the past and there's no reason why we shouldn't. I know she feels very strong about supporting the organization and everything, but there is a point where we need to really consider paying her for her time or angles and payment checks or something like that. If we want to do one now, we can do another one closer to the show or right after the show.
So in the past, how was it?
Usually it was 3 payments, one about now, one before the show, one after the show, I think.
And why?
And that goes into our, with this administration cost.
I feel like we should just be doing the same thing we always did. Why would we make it different this year?
No, we shouldn't. I would all for this.
I would continue about, I mean, I don't think that needs to be a discussion or a motion because it's how we've always done it, right? I don't remember voting on that before.
No, it's just a check over 500, so someone else signs it, but that's the only thing
Right.
we've done.
Okay.
I mean, there's just be a
'Cause it's
payment,
an
like,
administrative cost, it's like
Right.
paying, it's a job that we've hired.
you're right.
Just do that. It's just a
Right.
matter of doing it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So if that's okay, I'll just go ahead and have Alyssa write a check out for the
Pay the people.
$2,666.
Pay the people that need
What's
to be, pay the people that need to be paid.
So is she doing that because part of it's gonna go to Joanne? Or what, 2006, I can't remember.
Back in 2019, that's where I come across the figure in the checkbook.
Yeah, because I think
I
she
think she gives
assigned some
something
of it
to
to Joanne, because Joanne did some work while she was out and things.
I think, yeah, the last few years.
Well, What's that?
Whatever she's arranged with Joanne, it's out of her 9,000, so if she's doing something to Joanne, it'd be the 2,666, right, that's the.
David was so sick. I think that's when she.
Okay. We'll touch base with Carol when she gets back. We'll go ahead and send her that 30% check.
For sure.
Okay, good.
I'd like to nominate Mel Griggs for this job.
Is there a second?
You're out of your mind. You're all out of your mind. Holy smokes.
I'm reading this. This is all you, Mel. This is all you. right here.
You know, I am gonna be coming into some time off, but I kind of need it. I wouldn't mind, I think I really think it's a great idea that along with what Lori's saying and along with like succession and whatever, coming in as a new person, there wasn't a whole lot of information or a whole lot of structure that was provided for new people. Every single time I'm on this call, I learn new things. Like, I didn't even know that we paid Carol. I knew Carol wasn't on the committee, but I had no idea that that was an expense that we were incurring. And not that it matters, but as a committee, I'm not saying that people are not pulling their weight or anything, but is there a limit on how many people can be on the committee? Because if we do take this on as a committee and we don't continue to offer this as a paid, like a third party kind of an admin situation, can we add people to the committee that we can put on teams to handle all of this event stuff, like the magical ice and the trailers and the traffic control and, all of this stuff, I think is going to need to be divvied up because it can't just land on someone, or I think our turnover rate is just going to continue to be really high. So just something to think about. And I don't know what that looks like, and I don't know if it's written in stone, how many people can be on the committee, but maybe it's time to start thinking about growing that so that it's not a difficult process to go through later.
Yeah, but the charter right now, or the bylaws, say it's made up of the 5 council members and 4 public for a total of 9. So that would require a bylaw change, is one thing. I think too, a lot of these, outside of what, the following the contracts, the vendors, to follow up, that type of thing. If you get into this expense item, it's just, we wrote a letter to Grace Lutheran Church. We call the radio guys up, we call the ICE guys up, we call the Civil Air Patrol, send them an email. So in the whole scheme of things, it's not that much work. It's just a matter of making sure it gets done. Somebody's accountable for making sure that actions. And right now, Carol does everything. I help her. Carol's the one that negotiated it, and that's what she's asking for, is to restructure the job description.
I think we should look into that. I think actually after the show would be a really good time to look into that, because then everyone here will have experienced the show and know kind of what goes into it. And then you would have more to say, you would have more input. Like this is, but like what I think of when I think of this, the only thing I think is like right now, currently in my life, I am taking care of all the social media, all the website, all this stuff. And that might have to change if I go back to work full time, if I, and it'll be very hard to find someone who puts as much time as I put in to do this for free. It would be very hard to find someone who puts as much time as you put in if our new mayor, or if we have a new mayor eventually and they're the chair. That's what we have to think of that. And so that's the other thing about having a director is that we just like this magic stuff shows up and it seems like it's not a lot, but the real work is the keeping a communication and keeping in touch with our vendors and finding new vendors and all of that. That's, I think, the real work behind it, and having that one face. That's what we would lose if we split up everything, and that would be hard.
Yeah, I think
I agree with what you're
Vendors would be-
saying. I think what's added a lot, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, by taking a year off, it's really messed up the system. Because before it was kind of taken for granted, here's my money for next year. Yep, I want the same spot, and they paid in a year in advance. Now with last year being COVID, it's almost like you're starting over this year with,
right, well,
you lost a lot, you gained a few back.
the same thing's happening with their food vendors too. They're
Yeah.
changing over. Some of those food vendors aren't coming back because they retired or they just can't find manpower
Yep.
to help out, so.
There's less and less of the people that do that though, like the pay before. There's just less and less people because they're not here anymore. Like they've either,
They died.
literally,
Yeah.
every year,
Demographics.
there are people. I remember someone told me that and I started realizing, oh, that's true. They're just not with us any longer. Like some of our vendors that would do that, would pay ahead of time. Now, most of our vendors are, I think there's still those vendors, but most of them are. That's why we need new blood. We need new vendors. You know what I mean? Like
Is the goal of the festival to sustain the same vendor participation year to year or to grow? Or
it'd be awesome to grow the antique market in general.
the antique
Yeah.
market is declining, or not declining, but
So that's
yeah.
why we've, over the past few years, like the car show, we're trying to like revive it and maybe, we need to think about this too, and as our succession planning is, how are we gonna attract new vendors and new life into the town?
artisans and arts, and we could do like an art fair. We could do local goods, try to keep it from getting crafty, because that didn't work well for a number of similar types of situations, but But yeah, I agree with you.
Artisans and are welcome, you know, and we have, look, honey, we have people that do that. We have soap. We have people, we have all that. So I think that's already,
But are we marketing to those people? Because we're marketing to we're marketing to the antique shows and the
Trade journal, yeah.
antique dealers and the
Mhm.
trade dealers or the trade, whatever, but are we,
so I've done the marketing on like all the vendor pages. I've put it out there. The feedback from our actual antique dealers is not positive when we bring in other vendors like that.
Right.
So while we need to, we want to grow, our base, the people who've been here the longest do not love it.
Why?
So it's a problem
But it-
because they, and you will hear this, like, if you pay attention, you'll hear it. It used to be a pure show, like that's like the wording is pure. And it's like, there is no such thing. I mean, where
What
are you
if
gonna find that
we-
anymore? But there's people that are still, are upset about it.
but what if we sectioned things off, so we had like the artisans in this section and
So
you know, so that
Yeah.
it's like a shopping area where you're.
So battle lines are drawn.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That is exactly the thing, like, so people will avoid certain sections and only go. So when you have them
Yeah.
all mixed in, you actually you get more traffic if you have to walk through it. Cause I had that same conversation with, well, it must have been Carol or somebody. Actually, maybe it was even maybe I had it with Christopher Holmes. I don't know. I like bounce things off vendors I know. And then they said it's actually worse to do that because then you will totally draw battle lines and there will be,
Interesting.
yeah. So if you have it, everybody scattered throughout like we do.
It's a real fine line because if you wander too far off of it, it's not a traditional Orinoco Gold Rush anymore. It may be a carnival. It may be a food fair. I mean, so, but if you want to keep Gold Rush as a traditional, it's a real hard balance.
I was gonna
to
say,
find.
but maybe that's not possible. I mean, if we have 900 spots and we are filling 250 of them or 300 of them, we're doing something wrong.
We should ask the community what they're looking for.
Center part of
you know?
it,
They're
pine trees, it's kind of a misleading number.
they are a misleading number. And that silly hill, wherever the hill is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, we don't do that. Or we don't, and now we put, you know, we have cars.
But
and-
even if we're at half capacity, even if there's 500 and we're at 250, what are we doing? We're leaving money on the table. What are we doing? If we're taking our lead from the vendors that are showing up and they're saying, you can't market this to the local artist on the street who wants a spot because it's gonna make me mad and I'm not gonna come, and the local artist pays and says, I have 5 other artists that would love to join this is awesome. Or if we have a food fair and we all of a sudden start bringing in and lining Main Street with way more food trucks, which would be awesome, why is that bad for us? Like, I think we have to think longevity and not necessarily catering to, well, it's always been this way and it's a pure show and that's what it has to be, because we won't have a show if we don't adapt.
I agree, and I think that that's a good discussion we have to have, like, I think, one of the places that has done a really good job of this is Junk Bonanza. Again, it's like a totally different scenario. We're a nonprofit. We're like one of 2 shows in the country like this. And it's just a very difficult thing. Everyone else does whatever they want because they just rake in the money and keep it for themselves and turn over, you know what I mean? And we just don't do that. And
But
then,
what are they doing to rake in the money? Like, I mean, we could be raking in the money, like, just because we're a nonprofit doesn't mean that we can't be
Charging more.
charging more or.
well, they have
marketing to
it's,
different
you know, Junk
people,
Bonanza's
or-
indoor at Canterbury Downs, and it's just, they charge a ton, and it's charge admission, a ton of admission, and
It's inside.
it's, yeah, I mean, it's just a whole, yeah. it's a very
We just add more
difficult,
family, outdoor quality of shopping to the experience, I guess. Well, there's a lot of discussion. I will say that this is what, in my conversation with Carol, this is what Carol's excited about, is that the conversation that we're having right here is just that thinking of
right,
what can we do different? How can we do it? And that's what she's excited about, that the show will continue, probably in a different format. Who knows? But I think it's important that we just keep that in mind as we go between now and as we go through the whole show, and how can we make this happen? And you're right about, I mean, between Carol and I, we could write a paragraph on each item and give you all the background information, who the contacts are, whatever it would. And I agree, would help Lizzie and Christine and Melissa and Kristen too. And just also reinforce, so we got something to go from, because right now, this would be extremely difficult to hand this off to somebody. I mean, there would be a show next year.
right.
It'd be nice to know how many people come because it's an antique show versus they come because it's something to do.
Oh, well, we have a survey.
It is.
Yeah, and we did a survey last year.
Oh, good.
I should pull it, actually,
Hold
let
up
me
for
put that
next
in my
time.
notes and I can send that out to you guys. I can send the results out to you guys. We did a
Okay.
Survey Monkey and
The other thing that we could do is put another Survey Monkey together for the citizens page. And just like you said, find out from the community within, and we can format the survey so that we don't get crappy responses. But, what do you want to see more of?
well, I'll tell you what they want. I've heard a million times, they want a dance, they want music at night, you know what I mean? Like that's been, so many people have told me that over the years.
Which we talked about doing last year and then
I mean, everything
Didn't do it.
exploded, of
or
course.
the year before, we
Yeah.
talked about doing it.
And I mean, I think we're slowly introducing these things, right? We have the Lions Club tent and they had music up there and that people
That
really
was
enjoyed that. And I know the fire hall has also done that in the past, so it's not like any of this is, we know those things are, people like them. But I mean, they want like a nighttime, like a small town, like everybody's small town, I don't know.
Like the Cheese Fest.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which I don't think we want to turn into that, right? I think we know that we don't want to do that. That isn't our
Well, it's
goal.
almost like we're gonna warp into a whole different dimension. Like you said, that's gonna be a community celebration. This was originated to bring in vendors from around the country
Right.
with the finest antiques.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what you're saying, yeah, that's going away. But so will the name Gold Rush. It won't be Gold Rush, it'll be whatever you wanna call
Right, and I'm not
it.
ready,
Music fest, carnival, food fest, something
Yeah.
other than antiques.
right? And I don't think it's something I'm ready to give up because it's my favorite weekend of the year as far as that
Yeah,
goes.
yeah.
But
No, I mean, there's just no doubt there's a tradition of, this is the 48th year for it, so I think it's. That
The
says
big
something.
thing that I've
Or
seen
Morocco. I mean, that's,
around these small communities that have these, I'll call it a flea market. And maybe you girls can attest to it. A lot of it is repurposed antiques. Nobody wants grandma's antique sewing machine or,
Yep.
what do you call them? Not sewing machine, but the big trundle machine.
Mhm.
But they make that into something else. It's still an antique, but now it's been repurposed for
we
something else.
promote that in our advertising,
yeah,
repurposing. too, yeah.
Repurposing.
yeah, you're totally right, though. That's how that's our biggest, our vendors who do the best. Like Christopher Knowles or some of these guys that's what they do. They pick and they know that that's what they'll sell and that they do really well that way.
Well, and
It's
then,
not the big antiques that are selling and everybody knows that. That's what's so hard is like, you want so badly to promote that, but
maybe we
Yeah,
go
that's
back to the drawing board and just analyze who we are, what we want, and who our market is, and maybe we've got lost in the trade journals and all of the things that we've done, but we're not digging into the right avenues. If we want to stay true to this form and be an antique show, whether it's repurposing or, a headboard, whatever, maybe we use the 48 years, celebrating our 49th year, and we're reaching out to the vendors that are in Texas and that are in Florida and that are in California and saying, you know, here's a listing of the vendors that have had successful shows and list all of the states that they've come through and, you know, do something like that so that we're hitting different areas. Who do we want to market it to? And if the issue is that we don't have enough vendors because the vendors are bringing in the people, then all of a sudden
That's
we
a
have
good
more
point. I
people.
think we can promote national vendors coming here. Because they do it, they are.
There,
And we
yeah.
have national
Yeah.
people buying too,
Oh, absolutely.
so.
I mean,
we don't
I
do
get
that- We don't use
messages-
that in our promotions though.
Right.
At one time, we said it was the sixth, and maybe still it's the sixth largest
I
antique
write,
show.
I
that
mean,
was-
I write that in almost, I mean, like vendors coming, I write where they're coming from, like,
Yeah.
like our fabric lady, she comes all the way from Florida, but she travels the world pulling fabrics from, she buys in markets all over the world. I put that in everything. I mean, and people follow her. They literally, I have messages. Is Margaret coming? Yes. Like, that is a big deal to people.
So I'm 100% on board. I hear what Lori's saying. I hear what Dana's saying. I hear also, I'm hearing what the vendors are saying. They want it to be an original. They want it to stay an antique show. They don't want our Gold Rush weekend to turn into something like our neighbors to the north, or, you know, some of what transpires when you try to grow a show and it kind of grows into this big massive thing. But something to consider if we want to try to keep it, you know, it's antiques, okay? Antiques, olden days. What can we try to market or grow using that by adding entertainment things that are similar to maybe things that you see at the Renaissance Festival, things that are more traditional in nature that would be more suitable to fit in with an antique show versus rides or a carnival or you know, there's certain kinds of music. There's like live band kind of music that's not your head banging mosh pit kind of thing that these vendors are probably very fearful of. I think if we're careful in our thought process, we probably could still grow the show, but in a tactful way that's respectful to the vendors and keeps them around and try to keep the Gold Rush, you know, ideals the way they like them. So we're sort of catering to them, but we're also growing or trying to find a way to grow. I don't know. It's just a thought.
It is, and I've had so many talks, and I've had talks with vendor, I've had like thoughts like, could we move this to Orinoco Park and have it be more like Traders Market Elko, where you have an entry fee and then you charge people to come in, and there's one way in and one way out for the, you know, but then I've talked to a few vendors and they're like, that would be kind of a nightmare getting in there and out. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. You know, so there's like, but I think we have the right team right now to really think outside the box and figure this out over the next few years. I think we have a really good group.
Or do a West Side street dance on that Saturday night and go over to the park behind Tilly's and,
Yes. Well, we tried to do that, but they wouldn't, remember,
well, don't do it at Tilly's, do it at the
Memorial
park.
Park.
at the park.
at
Yeah.
Memorial Park and have the field and have the Lions tent over there for an evening selling beer and Bloody Marys and music and I
Yeah,
mean,
there's-
you could
the
take it
space is there.
outside of this area, but still give people something to do. Cause I know people want to continue being out and about and they don't want to go far. So if it's, you know, happy hour starts at 4 and it's over at, or whatever it's called, Memorial Park.
So then the issue becomes, do we want this to be a classic rock and roll band? Do we want it to be a country western
Oh,
band?
yeah.
Do we want it to be a
All of the
polka band?
above.
Huh?
I'll show up for polka. You gotta be a polka.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm saying, I love polka.
I mean, I think, I'm just throwing out ideas, but
No,
you know,
yeah,
you
that's
could
absolutely right.
do something on the
Yeah,
west
there's a
side.
lot.
Get people out of this area because the vendors want people.
That was
out.
the issue about having a dance or after hours is that it's not, their goods aren't safe then. And I agree, that's not the best place to have it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was a whole.
Or have it at the camp, have it at Orinoco Park, have it at where we do the fireworks and have
Yeah,
a
it'd be a separate event.
separate
I'll
event.
speak from my own personal experience, but you're sitting out there for 2 days behind a table selling stuff and setting it out, covering it out.
Mhm.
By 5 o'clock, you're done. You don't wanna
That's true.
participate in anything else.
And that's actually.
That's my own
Yeah, no, that's,
observation.
and that is exactly the feedback we got. Like, actually, that's why we shortened the hours is because of that.
Yep.
We got almost a lot of, I mean, most of the feedback was that they wanted a shorter show. But that this would be then for the city. And maybe it wouldn't even be Gold Rush weekend. I don't know. Maybe we have a few different options of events we put on during this year. I mean, we talked about like
Something in
a
late
winter
spring.
one. I mean, we don't have to, we can do more. We can do more with this. We just have to really start thinking, and it's good that we're having these thoughts and discussions now and everybody can like grow that and come back after this show and I think we can do a
I
lot.
think it's- I mean,
Can I throw one other thing out there, just as long as we're on this topic, is that, if we have 800 lots or we've had 800 lots for 48 years and we're only pulling in 250 vendors, or 300 vendors, do we pull in the ropes and we tighten up the boundary a little bit? I mean, do we try to condense into a smaller area so we don't need as many garbage cans and we don't need as many this or as many that? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there as a thought as well. If it is something that is going to shrink just due to enrollment, I mean, just due to vendor signups, is it not in our best interest to try to save money on making it size appropriate?
So when I joined, they had just done that. They had really consolidated. What looks weird, and I didn't know this until I joined, is that the outliers are usually not vendors, they're not city vendors. They're not renting from us. They're renting from private. So like the show did a good job of consolidating and making all that work better. And they took a ton of porta potties, garbage cans, all that away. The year, I think after I joined or the year, yeah. Anyway, it just doesn't look like it because we have it's 2 shows. It's people renting from the city and then
one side
people
of the
rent,
road, and I guess.
yeah, people renting from the private
But-
property.
But that being said, I mean, we pay Grace Lutheran money to rent. Do we need all those spots?
Because the Pines are like their favorite. That's the problem. But the Pines isn't
The
what we
pines
pay
used to
them
be
for.
solid.
So the
Well-
Pines there's probably a couple, probably another 100 lots in there that we're not using in the inside. We're just using the right of way on the outside. The payment is for their parking lot, and that was a favorite spot too for flat ground, for trailers that
Pavement,
pull in, so at that time, there wasn't an interest in getting rid of that parking lot, and so, but there could be something to that, or at least a different arrangement for the payment.
Well.
Well, a lot of good thoughts.
Yeah, look at that.
I just wanted to throw the succession planning out there. Carol asked me to do that, so it's out there. And fresh in our minds going into the show.
Yeah, this will be good to
So-
come back to after and really brainstorm this. I love it. I mean, I don't love that we're talking about it because Carol's leaving.
But Melissa, to answer your question, yeah, Carol has been thinking like that over in K lot, the VFW lot, the B lot where the Lions band is at. I think there's only 1 or 2 vendors up there, so she is thinking about moving them out. Just take them out of the open lot, so. Okay. Good discussion. Anything else want to touch base on? Otherwise, I make a motion to adjourn. Lori? favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed,
Aye.
Next meeting is at July 12th, and we'll, that'll be a critical meeting, make sure everybody's here. Reminders. And we'll make sure that Kristen's involved, and we'll try and have more background information for all the committee members, what's going to happen in July and August.
That'd be good.
All right. Lizzie?
Yeah.
How's your scar?
You'll know,
Your scar.
an hour before the P and Z meeting last week, I was at the little pool with my kid and I stubbed my toe and I looked down and I was like, that really hurt. And then I was just bleeding all over the floor. It wouldn't stop and it was going and going. And finally, I just thought I have to go to the ER. And so I sent Rylan a note when I was sitting there at like 6:45 and I was like, I'm just not gonna make it. Like, and I was just one of like, and I'm like walking through the locker room holding a naked child.
Bleeding everywhere.
Bleeding,
Oh,
and I'm trying to
no.
wrap her in a towel, and there's people all trying to do their, and I'm just, it was eventful. And so after 2 hours in the ER, waiting, I found out that if you wait that long, your skin is miraculous and can start to heal even within 2 hours. And so it was starting to like adhere back onto itself, which was incredible. And then I ended up getting it, like my toes are now glued shut.
Yeah, I said for gluing, yeah.
Yeah, so, it was
What was it on?
on the bottom of a metal door. Like I caught it underneath the door and then the door was not, like, was sealed in a different way. And it just like sliced straight through my toes. It was, thank you for asking.
Oh, you're welcome. I picked up a new scar too here about 10 days ago, some dermatology surgery.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Nose surgery. So, anyway.
Keep sunscreen
All
on.
right, next meeting, we're all gonna talk about our scars and battle wounds.
Everyone has seen your scars.
Email.
Yes, oh my gosh, yes. Wait, let me grab a couple.
Everyone, take
I'm
that.
going to.
it said and more, it ever did.
What are they?
Like,
Well, I put,
Those are neat dogs.
So what did
we have
They
talked
work?
about this art in the park thing, we've tried to.
Okay, so Zumbro, you have
Well,
Zumbro Hills.
Yes, they
Dan.
can. I don't know if his daddy.
And all the council members, if you want to take your stuff with you and review it before tomorrow night, that'd be great.
I reviewed it online.
Well, there's some new additional stuff. That's why it's laying there.
Okay.
That wasn't in the packet.
I will send him my sign up thing and then let him know. he can-
I'll let Carolyn know that you took it, so she doesn't freak out. Somebody
It's
stole
nice
it.
that people want to try out the list and see if people get on it, then we have like a place where we can push it out. But then as soon as the sign up geniuses come out, we're gonna push that out, you know, like, it's nice to have that personal spot to kind of.
Yeah, I did. And
Because we can't shoulder tap everybody, we can at least shoulder tap them with an email and.
He was my
Yeah,
dad's
so
dog.
do you have the
My
list
dad
of people that
retired
have
and
done
went
it
to
before?
South Texas. And we tried to.
Yes, I do have a list of people that have done it before. And
I was so used
And I
to
have a
this
list.
quiet.
Yeah, I have that, and then I have like
living
a couple things
down
for
in
people
Cedar
said,
Woodlands
and
and
then Carol.
seeing the kids outside all day and having a toddler
Need
around.
people,
was
so
not-
I've got some of those
a
contacts starting, and
Oh.
so I have some of
We
it. I don't have all of, but I do have the list of people who signed up before.
We live
just
on
to
10
hand it.
acres of land
So
and he is.
I have a little bit of that.
Yeah,
The 5K
those
too.
usually fill up, those people.
Okay, don't forget to
Yeah,
take,
and so that I have to see.
Oh, yeah.
pass it out, please, wherever you want.
I've taken before.
The 5K is new, I don't know, is
Yeah, I
that?
was gonna say this one's new.
Yeah.
Let me grab some of these.
I don't want to take too many in case other people are more productive
Okay,
than
I
me.
have
I
like,
don't go
okay.
anywhere, so I don't.
Yeah,
Well, I'm gonna hit 2 shops. I'm going to lacrosse on Wednesday.
you.
So
Take 'em
I'll see if I
fun.
can hit
Yeah.
2
Yeah,
shops on the way out.
Take these then, did you take these?
I have a bunch of those from last
Okay.
time. And then I have a couple of these too.
Yeah, and I'm sending
I
off
have-
some tomorrow and I drop some off. I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
yeah, any stores, any stuff you have, people you know back
So-
home, wherever.
Okay,
Sounds good.
the boy doggy that you kept, I can't remember his name.
Dragon.
Dragon.
will let you know if I can get rid of these. If I do, I'll come pick up more.
Oh.
Thanks.
Thank you. Boy, the dad is Dragon, the boy is Cobalt.
Cobalt, okay, so there's, I swear to God, who is there? But he looks like Andrew.
Casey's, then you have their logo right.
I do. And,
Thanks, Lizzie.
yeah, I sent them a request today, because I was like, oh, I think I said Casey's, and then I freaking looked at the sheet, I was like, shit. And then they sent me back saying, it's denied because we've already contributed to this, so I'm like, okay, they're planning to do it then, I just didn't know if you had,
I haven't seen anything yet.
you haven't seen anything, but they must be, yeah, I don't know, they must be on it, or they, because I got that back like right away, so they knew
Oh, yeah, because you have to put in your, like,
organization, yeah.
number, yeah, so they probably just have
Yeah.
a way to check that.
Yeah, so that was good though. I was like, oh, okay, I guess we can count on that. Yeah. I just am worried about, you guys, I'm glad we do the 5K, but I freaking hate it. I want to get rid of it for me. I don't want to do it. Somebody needs to do it. I hate organizing the 5K. I don't know why. It's not hard.
Yeah.
I just don't like doing it. Because it's not like what I like. I don't
Yeah.
like running. I hate running. And so I don't know,
Patience required.
I don't know
Yeah.
runners and I don't know any of this, so. Ugh, it's funny.
There were so many people that signed up even in 2019 on the last,
I
on the
know.
morning of, which is,
I know, and I know that that's what'll happen.
yeah, that makes it hard.